right. My name's Anna, and my husband and I moved to Long Beach about 2 years ago, and we moved there because we want to see a movement of God happen in the city. We quickly realized how crucial prayer walking was in our in the big picture of the movement of God. We like to talk about prayer walking as something we do to clear space spiritually. So the idea being that we could do a lot of great work in Long Beach and see a movement of God, but if we cleared the resistance, how much further could our results go, and how much easier could it be? So we actually like to think of the metaphor of like a river, and it's almost like we'd be having to walk upstream against the current if we didn't clear the space spiritually first. But after we do, it's like we're kind of walking in neutral waters, and God can easily move through the city. So 3 things that we kind of think about when we talk about prayer walking. We want to always take into consideration the city's history. It's a really good practice to take some time to like research about your city and look for 2 different things. Look for the gifts in the city. So what is some really beautiful legacy in your city? For example, in Long Beach, it was part of the Azusa Street Revival and a part of that big movement of God. And so we, like, when we pray and walk, we want to ask God to bring the city back to that place again. And the other thing we look at in the city's history is what are the things that need to be redeemed? So there was a huge Ku Klux Klan movement in Long Beach, and that's something that we often kind of go back to and think about as we pray for racial reconciliation, and as we just pray for God to cleanse that so His Spirit can really rest in the city. So the other thing that really shaped us in thinking about praying for the city was asking the question, God, what do you want us to know about the people of Long Beach? And when we first asked this question, it was actually quite a casual question, but we weren't prepared for God's answer. It really, really deeply stirred our heart for the city. So what we saw a vision actually of someone holding a glass, and they were drinking out of the glass, and it was clear that whatever was in that glass was toxic to them because they were kind of like stumbling and just weren't healthy, but they were trying to walk. And I felt like God said, that's the people of Long Beach. They're drinking of a spirituality that's making them sick, and they're sheep without a shepherd, and they need to be gathered into communities and shepherded. So that has really informed the way that we pray for the city. And then lastly, we walk and we just ask God to open our eyes to any strongholds that are in the city. And we really like to approach strongholds as though we're approaching needs. And instead of fighting against these needs, we think about what could we fill up in the city to kind of fill the empty places. So we think of that as like, how could we bless the city? How could we declare God's love, and how could we worship God through the city? How could we pray peace where there's where there's been places that have been really full of violence? How can we pray joy where there's a lot of hopelessness?